I'd watch out for the United States and Dubai. I was just explaining to somebody, and they said I should post about it. And I was explaining that gods are so terrified because I'm going to kill them. Okay, so just think about one dot. One little tiny speck is a tiny, tiny dot. Now, think of how many dots there could be throughout all that has ever been and all that will ever be. And that's how much they have to die as gods when they're guilty against me. And it's unlimited times unlimited death and more forever in one speck. And it's like endless, way more than trillions and trillions and trillions of specks. They're that dead. And they're so dead that gods just live very delusional right now and refuse to acknowledge reality. And they love the United States and Dubai because they refuse to acknowledge consequence or reality. And they live like a bunch of nut jobs, forcing and forcing just the fake, false reality that makes them feel like they're going to get away with it and they're just whatever they want to seem like they are. So I think they wanted me to post a video to warn you guys because the United States and Dubai live completely delusional now. So be very afraid of gods that tell you there is no consequence. Be very afraid of gods that turn weird when you talk about consequence. Be very afraid of any spirit or powerful giant that wants to tell you that what has always been is completely okay and acceptable. Don't fall for the 5 billion traps of very bizarre mental patient people that are in way too much trouble, that want you to go back to the old days where God would accept jail and prison and death once, because it's not here anymore. The real reality is that God always hated everything, but God tolerated everything. Why? Because my son was a murderer, an evil God enemy, and running everything. So my son that murdered me was an evil God enemy with a murder problem. So gods tolerated shitty or sickening people. After I was murdered as a dead God, no one tolerates anything. And everyone is dead in the most unthinkable ways ever known over pretty much everything and anything. So you don't want to go near those kind of people. Those kind of people want to go back to the 80s where God was just going to take it up the ass forever and tolerate anyone. And those people have to go back to the 70s and 80s and act like they never did this to some Bonnie Annika. She's just a stupid Bonnie Facebook thing and they murdered and they're just basic murderers. And there is no monumental consequence at the hand of all gods. And she's not some monumental creator that's going to kill them forever, even though she could die over and over. And there's no such thing as everybody has to die over and over forever because they killed some dead god over and over forever. And they get really weird and nut job like and want to go back to the old days where God put up with a lot of criminal or bad things. The sad reality is that the United States and Dubai got everyone who would be interested in the murder of the death of God interested. So people around the world murdered me more than once, but they felt powerful like they were God. What it did was it taught all gods they don't have to put up with anything or let anybody live anymore. So gods felt bad that my murder-happy son was a god bad, out of control, influencing murder or bad things through demons, devils, and all kinds of bad spiritual forces. Once a planet was so gross they just murder me over and over and get all weird and gross, the gods decided we're going to go to court once and for all. And in the white throne judgment, which was going to be deciding what is truly good and right as gods, they decided the best white throne judgment in the judgment of God against everything is that when they would sit here as a planet and just abuse blatantly a dead god happily, they should have no mercy or leniency. So now death once is really, it's a really hard, rare thing to find. So death once won't exist very often. A lot of doctors or experts already know death more than once and that it's just part of life now. So you learn to make some medical mumbo jumbos about it. So there's never death once unless you're lucky. The gods easily kill forever. And that's what would happen when some planet's just dancing all over the death of a dead god. They're not valuable or important. The god is. So now they become what you could easily kill forever and never care about. So just stay away from the 666. They're all 666 now. They all have a 666 on their forehead. So just always go to my queen, my queen, my queen. And stay away from the bad and scary and harsh realities out there. I'm just talking to Russia, China, Japan, badasses that work with gods, work with beyond human, work with big time monsters and scary type things. But for all you little children of God and stuff, just go to my queen, my queen, my queen. Realize that if these stories are real, which if you can go to my queen, my queen, my queen, and a god talks to you, probably it's all real. Stay away from it unless you want to go into scary domain. If you want to be like a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that can walk through the fire and the oven and like live, you'd want to do it through my queen, my queen, my queen. So you'd want to go to my queen, my queen, my queen, and tell them I'm trying to get through the valley of the shadow of scary stuff, and maybe be able to fight and destroy a demon one day that's bad or something. And the gods will cultivate and mold and help you. That way you don't walk into danger where you could die. And always remember, if you even sit by the 666 and act nice for too many seconds, you could be dead forever. So there you go. Well educated is well empowered.